Hello, hello, lovely beings. Welcome to today's episode of the Autumn Mindset. Tis I, your host and mindset guide, Autumn Oakley. So today's episode, I wanted to talk about the fact that there is no such thing as being introverted. And yes, I know that's triggering sometimes, but I used to perceive myself as an introvert. I used to perceive myself as this hermit in life. But what I come to know is like I had to heal myself and give myself permission to, follow my joy, connect with certain people that I recognize the shift in energy, the shift of myself that I am also extroverted. I can also get in front of the screen. And I was not that person. I held no self-confidence for most of my life. But I had no self-love. I had no awareness of, the truth of maybe my environments, my relationships, elements of my mind, traumas I needed to heal that I needed to shift, to address, to let go, and to provide myself the opportunity to get to know myself. And it's when you get to know yourself, you understand that, yes, maybe we perceive, in a period of time that we're an introvert, but I don't believe that's really a thing. I don't believe that's really you. And when I held that identity, I held on to that identity. Your identity is everything. If you are saying that you're an introvert, great, you are. You're going to stick to that identity. You're going to manifest that into your life. So when we let go of the identity of things to say, I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert, and just understand you are a person. You are learning, you are growing, you can be whoever the hell you want to be. You can understand your authentic self, over time by letting go of maybe what actually isn't you. And sometimes it's just a part of what we've come to know of the mind in our experiences in life. And that's what it was. I faced a lot of traumas. I faced all of these perceptions that I viewed myself as an introvert because I had no confidence. I couldn't even go to a cafe and sit by myself. I couldn't talk to strangers. I was so anxious all the time that I was like, I'm an introvert because I just wanted to be alone. And I think it is valid. Yes, understand your energy. And that's the space that I'm at right now is there's extrovert and there's introverted. But I think these perceptions lead us to hold an identity with that, hold an identity just to know that you can explore and change at any moment in time. And I think that is the identity to hold, is that who I am in this moment. Okay, that's great. Who do I want to step into? Because I can do that. I just need to address different things. So in coming to, when I was recognizing, my healing journey and my lack of self-confidence, my lack of self-love, the introvertedness that I was feeling for most of my life, it was in trying new things, getting out of my comfort zone, really just traveling alone, forcing myself to eat in cafes alone. I literally started going to restaurants alone and eating, and I know a lot of people struggle with that. People tell me this all the time. They say I'm really brave. And me looking back on that now, I was a person, I could not do that. So if you're struggling with that, understand I've been there. And that's what I mean is I viewed and held an identity as an introvert. I held an identity as somebody who felt anxious in environments by myself. So it takes practice. And I know it's the repetitive, you just need to try and keep practicing and be consistent with it. But it is a part of the process of getting comfortable in your own skin, regardless of where you are, to understand we, as long as we feel comfortable with ourselves, being introverted, being anxious, lacking confidence just falls away because you just feel so good in who you are and seeing your shadow, seeing the truth of yourself, understanding you're just learning, you're growing, you're stepping into a new version of yourself, time and time again. So with, being an introvert, I really don't feel like it is something that exists, but I think it is something a lot of us hold on to, and I held on to it for decades. So if this triggers you, understand, triggers lead to truth. But also, I was there. So I'm just sharing my unique perspective of what got me out of it, because I believe that you deserve a life that you feel confident to be in any space you choose, whether that is traveling alone, whether that is, coming out of the house. And I was in the house a lot just because I held these perceptions that I was never going to be confident, that I just, lived in a lot of fear. I couldn't be alone. All of these different details I had to heal within myself. So yes, the journey of being an introvert, being a hermit. And like I said, I think it is valid for you to understand the energy of things. So in a time like now, there are times where I'm out there, I'm extroverted, but I understand and know myself, yes, I think it's also good to be on your own, to take time and space on your own, in whether it is your home, to ground yourself, whether it is outside, whether it is exploring. Like, there is a balance in life. We don't always need to be one thing or the other. And I think that is like the terms with like extrovert and introverted. We identify as one or the other. And the truth is that, like, I believe at different periods of time, we're both. We just need to follow the energy of like what feels good to us in that moment in time. When we're like out in a certain environment and we're, vibing with people, yes, we're in that extroverted energy. We are out there being that version of ourselves. But then there'll come times that maybe you feel tired, maybe you feel drained, maybe you don't want to go to this party. Okay, great. Follow the energy to understand, like, you're not an introvert, but that's you just recognizing your energy to say, okay, I deserve to have time on my own, and that's normal. So I'm going to go and do that. Whether that is me going to a cafe to ground myself, write my book, create my craft, whether that is, going home to, take a bubble bath, do meditation, get outside, ground myself, just spend time on my own and, restore my energy in that way. And I think that is the perspective shift we need when it comes to being an extrovert and being an introvert. It's really just about you understanding yourself and your energy. So at different periods of time, like, just be really truthful and honest with yourself to say, like, okay, why don't I want to go to this party? And this is the hard part. This is the hard part, but this is something I continuously have always shifted and bring my awareness to. We need to bring our awareness to different things and really focus on the truth we don't want to face all the time. I viewed myself as an introvert even when I was out partying with friends, and I would just like excessively drink because I didn't feel comfortable in the environment, the space. And I loved the people, but it wasn't, the environment for me. The conversations that were being had weren't things I wanted to talk about. I love talking about growth. I love talking about health. I love talking about wellness. I love talking about different things. And the environments I was in, naturally, sometimes you just go to parties, you're at bars, and people are talking about, different things. They're talking about celebrities. They're talking about, gossip of other people in your group. They're talking about, maybe, family dynamics and all of these things. And yes, like, that's cool if that resonates with you. But I didn't get real with myself and be honest with myself to say, like, I don't really enjoy talking about these things. And I loved, the people I connected with in my past. I love the people I continue to connect with. But that was for me to get really uncomfortable in the fact, like, I'm not an introvert. I maybe just need to make some changes, set some boundaries in my environments, because it's triggering me into being an introvert. It's triggering me into a space that I don't want to go to this party. I feel anxious in this party. I am associating and identifying myself as an introvert as an excuse that I don't have to go. And that's really what it was, is avoidance. That is the hard thing a lot of the time we have to face, is like, we're triggered into certain things because we don't want to face the hardest element. Setting boundaries, saying no, letting go of situations, sometimes ending relationships, sometimes leaving environments. And it doesn't mean you have to end friendships. It doesn't mean like you have to do those hard things, but sometimes it does mean like you need to get real with yourself to say, like, do I like myself? Do I like this version of myself in this space with these people in this environment? Is it leading me into a space that I'm feeling drained in energy? I'm exhausted, that I go to this party, I come home, and I'm just dead. I'm on the couch. I just want to numb out. That was the thing I had to face, is like, energy is a thing, and it's not to place blame on other people, but it's for us to recognize, like, maybe this isn't the space for me. Maybe at a point in time it uplifted me, excited me, but we're here to grow. We're here to change. So if the energy shifts, that's for you to address. Okay, I'm responsible for everything in my life. So me viewing myself as an introvert is really just me holding on to this perception that I can use it, in a time maybe. And if that resonates with you, I know that sucks to hear, but that's something I had to face, and something I really need to let go of, the fact that, like, I would use being an introvert, my anxiety sometimes as an excuse. So that I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go to this party. I don't want to go to this thing. But I had to recognize, like, maybe I didn't enjoy the space. Maybe I didn't enjoy the conversations. Maybe I didn't want to go, drinking every weekend. I actually was seeking something deeper in connection, in conversations, in growth, in wellness. And, I didn't really leave the environments for a long time. I just, I had these friends for a long time. I freaking love these people. They are freaking amazing. But I did have to end these relationships to understand like things had shifted and I couldn't be a part of it anymore. It was leading me into low mental states, that I was a hermit. It was leading me into more depression. And that's what happens sometimes when we view ourselves as an introvert. Like sometimes more things pile on the longer we hold on to this identity and we don't actually face like other elements of our life to make those changes, to understand that, okay, if I'm feeling drained in energy, if I'm feeling like I need to be alone all the time, that's for me to face something. Am I around the right people? Am I exploring new things? Do I have a strong relationship with myself to explore, to hold that energy for myself, to set boundaries, to support myself in different ways? So yes, the triggering message of the day. But that was something I come to learn over the years is like, being an introvert, I associated that with myself for most of my life. I really had no confidence at all. I really felt drained around people. I felt like exhausted all the time. I was always falling into depression. I was always falling into chronic illness. I was in burnout all the time. But, there's that perception that I would place blame on people. I would say like, oh my God, one, I don't want to do this, instead of facing the truth like, okay, face that. Why don't you want to do this? You're responsible for your life. What is it of yourself that you need to change in your environments, and of yourself, what do you need to heal and let go that's actually going to shift that in your life, that's going to bring forth that change that you feel that you can express yourself. And I was in environments where I would talk about things, but people didn't want to talk about what I was talking about. I didn't always feel like I could, some friends, yes, I could be authentically myself, and I'm so grateful to have connected with them over the years. They are truly amazing people, and I do miss them all the time. But our lives just shifted and they didn't align anymore. But I had to make some hard decisions with that. I had to, address that energy. I had to, really remove myself to understand like it was affecting me in that way. It was keeping me in a mindset of victimhood. It was keeping me in a space that I was just, going into a low, because we're here to grow, we're here to expand, we're here to change our lives and step into a new version of ourselves. And sometimes, yes, people don't want to come with you. Sometimes, yes, that means people are going in different directions. We're all here to do our own thing. And I know that's hard and I know that sucks. But yes, sometimes that is the hard thing we need to face with like being an introvert, is like we need to face those elements to really question like, why do I feel drained? Why am I holding this perception that I'm a victim to this circumstance, that I, am always going to be a person who lacks confidence, that I'm holding this identity to be an introvert? But I have the opportunity to change. I have the opportunity to make a shift in my life and of myself. And that is the hard part. But in time, as you heal and let go of these things, you understand like, yeah, you're not an introvert. Yes, you're not an extrovert either. You're just like addressing and, following the energy of what makes you feel good. And that's really the point of life, is like you'll be in certain spaces if you try new things, if you make new connections, if you, explore growth, explore yourself. You're going to go to those spaces. You're going to feel uplifted in energy. You're going to feel excited that you can express your truth, talk about the things you want to, share your voice. You're going to feel comfortable in the full volume of your voice. And there are certain spaces that, let's be real, we don't feel that we can dance around, be weird, talk about the things we want to talk to if no one in that space or that environment is doing that. So being an introvert is really about facing your exterior world a lot of the time. Yes, it is about facing yourself as well. But I think like the first part of overcoming, this aspect of, being introverted, lacking, this self-confidence, feeling that we need to, remove ourselves a lot of the time, in that energy, I really perceive like the first aspect you should address. It is going to be really hard, but you need to address your environment. You need to address the space itself, how it makes you feel, your relationships. Are you able to talk about the things you want to talk about? Do you feel that you can be your authentic self, weird and vibrant and doing the things you want to do? Are you in spaces, with people, in hobbies, in, just living life, doing the things that actually bring you joy, whether that's in fitness, whether that, is certain things? Are you trying new things with new people? What in your environment is uplifting you in energy? What in your environment is leading you into this mindset that you're an introvert? What in your environment is leading to a space that you feel exhausted in energy? What in your environment do you need to shift and address to make that change? And then make those shifts, set those boundaries, try different things, try new things, just address the environment itself. And if you're really confused with that, sometimes that just means traveling somewhere. Sometimes that means just leaving the environment, communicating to the people you love to say, I just need to go no contact for a bit. I need to explore myself. If you're feeling really confused, if you leave somewhere and you feel really good, on your own, I think that tells you a lot. And it's not always something we want to hear. It's not always something we need to, we want to face in that fact. But that does mean sometimes, energy is holding a tie to that, or sometimes we need to explore ourselves. We're feeling called to, embody love for ourselves, to take responsibility for our lives, to become independent. So it really is just the journey sometimes. So do those things, address the environment, and then after that, address yourself. Then focus on yourself to really go within your mind and the beliefs you're holding on to about why you feel that you have to hold this identity of being an introvert, that you feel that you can't, be out there. What of yourself is, holding you back from expressing yourself in your voice, getting in front of the screen, doing the scary thing to, talk with people. And I couldn't talk to strangers. I couldn't talk to anyone for such a long period of my life. I felt a lot of anxiousness. I felt a lot of fear with that, but I don't have that anymore. I talk to everyone. I am in front of the screen. That's what I mean. We can overcome these things. We can become a different version of ourselves. We can let go of this identity that we're introverted, that we don't have confidence. You can step into your authenticity, because your authentic self isn't an introvert. Your authentic self is vibrant, and yes, maybe they do, enjoy time alone. Some people need more time alone. I need a lot of time on my own, and I do enjoy that time, and that is okay. But it doesn't mean that you need to hold this identity that you're an introvert. It just means that, you uniquely need more space and time on your own to explore yourself, to restore your energy. And that's what life is about, understanding yourself. So those are my recommendations with, coming out of being an introvert. Really, one, focus on the environment, face those hard truths, and then addressing the beliefs you're holding with yourself to step into a new version of yourself. Let go of the limiting beliefs that maybe are just, built into our way of life that you've experienced over time, that maybe society, family, friends, school, life in general just kind of placed upon you, that, it was just easier to remove your energy. It was just easier to quiet your voice. It was just easier to remove yourself from a situation than to set boundaries, than to say no, than to, have a argument with someone. But that is the episode for the day of understanding that perhaps you are not an introvert, but you're just exploring yourself and need to address different things. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and I just want you to know that I am excited for you on this journey of growth, expansion, and self-discovery. Keep shining, lovely beans.